So I have like two really important things that I figured out. One is, well, it's like the same thing, but it involves two things. It's control and power. And I realized that it's like the levers are the less control you have and try to have, the more power you have. And it's a weird paradox that I've been wrestling with lately about this idea that like the only way to have real power, which none of us have anything, is what I feel like. We don't have anything. We're just given everything. You're given your breath, your heartbeats, your eyes, your everything, your sunlight, your water, your hair, like whatever. Everything's given. So uh this power, this feeling that we have it, it's like working through us. But I feel like the only way that we get to embody it is if we completely let go of control. Because if we try and control, we lose power. So what that tells me is the more people out there, the more that people out there try and control things, the less power they have. So it's really this ironic or paradoxical thought because the ones in control actually have the least amount of power. And they know that. I think they reach a certain level where they get all of this power, sorry, control, and they start to realize, "Oh crap, like we have no power." So now we need to like use the like deal we've created, which is all this control that we got, and try to make the illusion of power happen so that everyone else who actually does have the power, because they're the people who've let go of control, they're like, okay, I guess these maniacs control everything. They actually have all the power.
Mhm.
So this little equation, I think, works for everything. It works. It's why revolutions work. It's why they're all the people in control are always afraid of the people because they know that whenever they control something, they have less power, and that the power rests in the people without the control. And it's a paradoxical thought because you have to ask the question, what is power if you can't control anything? Because it's kind of like what is what is all the coffee in the world if you can't drink it? So it's kind of like I can't drink it, so what's the point of having it? But that's the real paradox that we need to like settle into that I think the ancients understood really well. Like all of their stuff with sound and resonance and heart frequency and all that stuff and the temples they built around it and the stone and the earth. I think that they were much more flowy with this stuff and they probably ascended somewhere. Maybe they didn't die. There's probably like some other place. Anyway, hi Sarak.
Hello, great to see you. It's been a while.
It has.
Oh, it's so nice. It so feels so wholesome to be with you guys again. It's just beautiful. I've been so excited. It's been like buzzing in my cells, like yay, reuniting. Um, it's funny listening to you talk about power and control. I'm chuckling to myself because having a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, I'm doing the power dance all over again. Like I've already raised two kids that like I don't feel like I need to dominate or have control over. But the fourth kid, it is like he's feral. And the more control I try to have, the less control I have. Like he is like completely feral because we're constantly trying to don't touch that. Oh, don't do that. Oh, And the more we do that, we just completely lost our grip. So at this point, we're just like, all right, whatever, dude. Scooter without a helmet. All right, whatever. Are you going to climb on that really tall ladder? Let's just see what happens. It's really funny. And then the other part that actually I hosted a masterclass this morning and I did a live remote viewing, which was really fun, really exciting. But something that came up in a dream state this morning was about CERN and that who has control over CERN? Ding, 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 ding. We do. We, the people. It is our frequency that's feeding this giant thing that humanity has somehow figured out how to construct. But the people that we keep referring to, these controllers who are losing control of us, are not in control of that either. We are, which is why they're constantly trying to push fear programming, so that we are feeding fear into the collective, which then would shift the timeline into the fear timeline, the synthetic, the matrix, all the shit we're trying to get out of.
Yeah, it's again, it's the balance between power and control. So it's they don't have power, but they have control. So they've done it's just this simple equation. The more control you have or illusion of
Mhm.
control, the less power you have. The more power you're given, the less control you have. So these people who are in control have no power, and they know that. And the closer that they get to the peak of control, they really realize how little power they have. So they are really terrified, and it's ironic, and it's like hard to think about in logical terms because how is that possible? If they have all this control over something, what do you mean they have no power? And so I was wrestling with this question of what is power if you can't control? And I was talking to ChatGPT about it. And, AI can be get bad and good, but it's really good at like thinking about these little things and talking them through. And one of the examples that it gave to me, I thought was great. It was the sun, it has all the power, right? And worlds depend on its power, but it doesn't appear to have control over when it rises, when it sets, and how much it generates in, energy and all that stuff. So it's like the power is in its presence and in its authentic expression. The power is not in it controlling when it's going to, well, I'm going to set at this time, and then I'm going to set at that time. Then it would actually lose its power because it would take control over something that it doesn't even understand. So these people who are controlling everything, as they gain more and more of that control, because they do have it, they have control. They do. They're controlling all sorts of levers,
Mhm.
but they have no power. They recognize that we have all the power. So the only way that they can keep us at bay is entertain us, poison us, make us exhausted, and really try to mold us into the compliant consumer that most Americans are really good at being, which is I'm just going to lay on my couch. I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm going to listen to pop music that sedates me and gives me mantras like it's all about ego lifting and not soul lifting. And so I'm repeating these ego lifting mantras all day, and they're ringing around in my head, and I'm eating food that's poisoning me. And I am really compliant, and I'm really trained to be a good consumer. And as long as you stay in that category, the government leaves, or the controllers leave you alone, because that's exactly where they want you to be. They want you to be compliant and consuming. And if you step out of that, suddenly why do they care? They care so much about these regular people. Like, if what I'm saying is not true, why is it these like nobodies, these like random YouTubers suddenly get on the radar of the FBI and like CIA watch lists and domestic terrorists? And they're just some kid who just started a YouTube channel because they understand, again, they might have control, but they have no power because the power rests in the sun's presence. The only power the sun has is to be itself. And if the sun tries to take control of that, it loses all of its actual power. And that's what these controllers have done. They've made a deal with the devil, and there's all kinds of rules. And the Bible tells you the rules. The Bible talks about how the devil needs to announce his plans. So that's why they're always saying stuff out loud, right in your face. The symbols are there, the words are there, and you're like, did they really mean that? They're crafty and creative, but they have to say. So you have to believe them. And why do we always have to accept the terms and conditions? Because the only way that they get to come into your house is if you allow them. Because again, they have no power. They have zero power because they have all the control right now.
It's so interesting. I mean, how like I'm thinking about, with Kundalini yoga, Sabrag, you've been teaching a lot recently, like because when you practice meditation and yoga, it's a different form of control. I mean, it's really surrender, right? But there's so much power in letting go, in the release, in the surrender, right? I mean, you're controlling your breath, you're controlling your body movements, but it's sort of when you relinquish and you just drop into it and just be carried by it, by the flow state of it, right? That's when you feel the power within you start rising. I mean, how's your interpretation of this as a pretty avid practitioner now? You're really getting after it lately.
um, to me, it's just like a musical instrument. You know, if you have a guitar or a stringed instrument of any kind, or a violin or whatever, and you just let it sit out for a couple of hours or even a day, it's going to go out of tune. And when you get an instrument finally in tune and you go to play it, it just resonates, it sings, it's able to be its true self. And it's just sort of the nature of entropy of life in general. And the I feel the Kundalini, especially in this day and age when we have so much external input, it's formulated specifically to um, sort of ride that wave of input and combat entropy in a very efficient way. So that way we can stay in tune. If we're more in nature, we have less sort of sensory input. I think it requires a lot less of that kind of thing. But I feel with all the input that I'm getting through technology, and my whole life is basically developing technology, it is exactly, I can't think of anything that I could replace with it. I've tried other things, nothing else works in the way that that does. And regarding the whole thing with power too, one of the things that I've been noticing that takes away my power is I've been posting twice a day pretty much on social media for the last few weeks, which has been a new challenge that Alethea and I have started. We just gonna post every day. And I noticed one of the things that takes away my power in my videos is when I'm have something of a critical or negative nature in it. So even if I'm like responding to a criticism or responding to some naysayers or some trollers or someone in my life has said something critical and I'm responding to it, my energy that I'm projecting and what I feel about it is completely different from when I'm just in a state of pure loving resonance. There's a video that's doing getting a lot of momentum out there, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I was just scooping some poop one morning, and Alethea came up to me and just said thank you, and I was just my natural response, and it was very very me, very positive, and that's spreading like very quickly, and I just noticed the difference between that light shining, like Scott, you said the sun, just being that sun and just shining, and then bringing anything that's any bit of like a critical nature into it. When I'm scrolling through and seeing the different energies that I'm putting out, I'm like, ooh, wow, that's a I want more of the sun shining and not anything that's sort of pandering to darker contractive energies. Even if I'm trying to explain it or go beyond it, or it doesn't matter. Still bringing in that energy completely colors the whole field. So I've been thinking now that I just don't doesn't have I don't have to worry about it. I just be myself, like you said, Scott. It's the perfect metaphor. Just shine. That's it. That's all we're required to do.
That's authentic. And
Yeah.
you're letting go of trying to control it,
Hmm.
right? I mean, the minute you try and control something, you've lost its authenticity.
Yeah.
Now there's an ego, there's a domination, there's a power play. And we've talked about it before. Authenticity is the highest frequency.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to surround yourself with things and listen to music and watch movies and anything around you. You want it to boost your spirit and your soul and not your ego. And
Yeah.
most of the pop culture stuff boosts your ego. It doesn't really boost your soul. Most, I mean, there's some pop stuff and some things that help with your soul, but like most of it is about boosting your ego. Oh, I feel cool when I listen to this, or I feel awesome. And there is a place for it. That's why it's here. But there is like a difference. I was talking to my tapping lady the other day, and she had this great thing to say, which I thought was really magical. She says simple things that are magical. This one was, there's a difference between like God saying okay and God saying yes. So there's a lot of things we do where God says okay. But it would be really nice if we really tapped more into, I want to do the things that God says yes to, because
Mm.
those are like taking me up notches. And the thing is, it's so funny because we all want that. We really do. Like we yearn to be climbing the staircase because up there's heaven. I mean, it's wonderful. It's perfect. And everything in the world is saying I love you. And you are the one saying, not yet.
It's so true. It's so true. I've never thought about it that way. I really like that. to do the things that God says yes to, not just, okay, you have permission. You can do it.
Right.
Yes.
I know. Alethea said that when I walked in the door here for the first time, August 24th, she said, "Full body yes." For
Oh,
me, it was the same too. And if it's not a full body yes, then it's a hell no.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I like that. It's the same kind of thing. It's just where the whole body just goes yes. The okays are kind of like compressive. It's like, oh, I can deal with that little part, but maybe not that part. But okay, we'll try it out. And we don't need to do that anymore. That's so like pre 2010.
It's so pre-New Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the question kind of remains is like, so if we're the ones with all the power and they're the ones with the control right now, what do we do? And I think that it's exactly what Zarog was talking about, which is we just shine. I mean,
Yeah.
we aren't meant to, unless it is the full body yes telling you to do certain like specific steps, like I'm going to organize, I'm going to create this website, I'm going to blah blah blah, then you can do that. But if your full body yes is like I'm going to sit in silence and grow my inner strength and my spirit, then do that. You don't we're conditioned to write these very creative stories for ourselves because our culture that was molding us to be these compliant consumers made a lot of stories that boosted our ego. So they made a lot of superhero stories. They made a lot of whatever it is, sexy girls living their life in New York stories. They made all these stories to make our ego kind of want to get boosted in the image of that and the illusion of that. They didn't do the conditioning because this is outside of the conditioning of being a compliant consumer, of recognizing your inheritance, your abilities that are mystical and magical, and recognizing that you are infinitely powerful and loved beyond words. And you only need to be authentically yourself. And that doesn't need to look like Superman flying through, the air and carrying buildings on his in his hands. It doesn't, that story was more to allow us to again to be our egos to be stroked so that we could think that those are the things that make a man good. And then of course, I mean, you can go into so many pop things and see that that's what it is. However, it's so much simpler than that because what those ego boosting stories have done for us is help us, which is really helping the controllers feel inadequate and missing. Oh, I'm not Superman. I need to be bulletproof in order to stand up to authority. I need to be able to, whatever he can do, fly so that I can stop the bad people. That's the myth that they sold us. Well, the truth is you need to just be you and you can stop anything that you don't want, that isn't true
Yeah.
because truth is the best shield and the strongest power. And that's more powerful than being able to fly.
Yeah. And I mean, do less, be more.
Yeah.
But they don't teach that in school. They don't want kids believing that. That's not the Rockefeller Foundation, baby.
Uh,
Not what Wiz Country's founded on. It's
Yeah.
not what the New World was founded on.
Right. Right.
yeah,
So the
I've
answer.
noticed. I've noticed that the more that I be myself authentically, the more that anything that's not myself that I'm sort of attached to karmically or relationally just literally falls away on its own without any effort. It's like magic. And I was seeing, speaking of the power and control thing as well, as a video came up a couple of days ago of this big group of world leaders of all the AI techs, and I think Trump and you guys might have seen it was there, and they're converging and all of that. I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool because here I'm sitting in like a converted refrigerator truck on a ranch. And I think what I'm doing is way cooler and more powerful and valuable than anything that they're doing. And
Yeah.
it's amazing to be able like to have the technology and resources these days that literally we can literally just create anything. And
Yeah, I mean,
anywhere.
Sprague, they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't figure out how to make a seed grow into a tree.
Yeah.
They didn't figure out how to photosynthesize the sun's rays into energy. They didn't figure out why some people have babies and others don't. They didn't even know or figure out how babies can be born, except
Mm.
for that it just happens. And they don't know why their heart is beating or why it starts to beat. They don't know how lightning works. They don't know who gave them the breath and who is continuing to give them the breath.
Mm.
It's like the insanity that we're supposed to subscribe to and believe. It amazes you once you wake up more because you're like,
Mm.
wait, you're telling me you're all great and amazing, but they're just trying to replace God in
Yeah.
your eyes so that you listen to them and don't realize you're the one with all the power. So they're
Mm.
just trying to replace God. Look at how cool this little machine is that we built that doesn't
Yeah.
care if you're dead or alive. Oh, I mean, it is cool, just like ego boosting movies and ego boosting music is cool. I'm not saying they're not, and I think that they have their place. I'm just saying we're super oversaturated with believing that those stories and thinking that that's what we are. But that's just like a little sliver of what the truth is. They're just these cute, fun little things. AI is a cute, fun little thing, but it didn't make a seed that grew a tree. It has no clue. You could ask it right now. It'll try to walk you through what we've learned, but it doesn't really know. What's the spark? Where's the breath coming from? Why am I allowed to breathe again after one breath left? It has no clue. So it doesn't wow me or amaze me at all. I like it. It's cute. But
Mm.
so's, like it's cute the way a little pet is cute or whatever. It's like the real power and magic is in you. It's inside of you. And they so don't want you recognizing that and tapping into that because then they know that they can lock you in a cell underground. And another thing my thing lady said, or somebody said, no, I was like this like Bible guy that I was following on Instagram. He said, I'm not buried, I'm planted, right? So they might try to bury you, but actually you're planted and you're going to just grow roots and turn into something bigger than you could even imagine because they can't bury truth. They look what they're trying to do with Epstein and everything else. They're just trying to bury it. It's not being buried, it's being planted. And that's the trick is that they're trying to control it by burying it. And what they don't understand is why does a seed still grow? Because they have no fucking clue why a seed grows into a tree. So
Well,
they're
it's,
going to try.
it's
Yeah.
it's funny that you said that because as you were saying that, it was coming to a head is probably my favorite book of all time, which is a children's book called The Carrot Seed. And are you familiar with that book?
Mm-mm.
It's a picture book. I have it around here somewhere, and it's just a picture. It's like a little cute boy, and he plants a carrot seed, and his parents come and they say, "I think it won't come up," but he keeps watering it, and then his friends go, it won't come up," and he just keeps getting like this negative thing, and he's just like totally zen, totally at peace, and then there's people that keep telling him it won't come up, and then one day the carrot comes up and it's this massive carrot, and one day the carrot came up just as the boy always knew that it would.
Oh.
And it's just like it's my favorite book.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, because you cannot bury, you can only plant.
Yeah,
And that's the thing that they hate because they want to bury so many things.
yeah.
But have you noticed that so many of their plans backfire? Like, I feel like this whole Epstein thing that, first of all, back in the day, it was like the diehard MAGA, that was like, Epstein, he's the bad guy. They knew. I mean, they were preaching about how evil he was in child trafficking, right? And all the liberals were like, that's a conspiracy theory. Go home, right, losers? And now the tables have turned, and it's like the liberals we're like, release it, release it, release it. Then it gets released, and nobody's doing anything about it. And I think that's exactly the backfiring is that these seeds of consciousness get planted. And it takes time. The soil has to, ferment the nutrients into the seed so that the seed can grow the roots and sprout. And then you need the perfect amount of sunlight and water. Like, it's a process. It takes time. And I think no matter how much they try and control and dominate the narrative, the power is in It's in the truth. And the truth is going to be unveiled, whether they do it or we figure it out. And
The
so
carrot's going to grow.
it's
The
going to grow
carrot's
the
going
care
to
exactly.
grow.
So there's nothing can stop what is coming and what is underway. And I do think that these seeds were planted, these Epstein file seeds. We ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh my
We ain't
God.
seen nothing
You've
yet.
seen
It's
that?
coming. It is coming and it is going to take the world by storm. But if it happened right away, that's also a message of instant gratification to a lot of people who didn't have time to watch that seed grow. You don't put a seed in and then boom, it's a tree. This process has to unfold. And there's not, I mean, whatever their nefarious plans are, they're all backfiring in their faces. I'm just here to watch the show and sit back and wait and see who's what actor is saying what. At this point, it all seems so freaking fake to me. All of
Yeah.
them. It
Yeah,
just seems so
have you been following all the like the Charlie Kirk stuff? I mean, that's all connected to the Epstein stuff too. It's all like kind of this big circle of controllers
Yep.
who do have control but have no power,
Mhm.
and they are all doing their best to create a complete fake story to keep us compliant and consuming. So that's it. Just
Distracted,
keep,
huh?
yeah, keep buying.
Distracted,
What
distorted, divided.
Right. What was, I think Bush said the first thing he said to America after the 9/11 thing happened, which is most likely inside and all kinds of bullshit happened there. But his first thing he said was go out and buy stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he did that because he didn't want the economy to crash. He was like, go to shopping malls, buy things, buy. Because they just need us to be compliant and to be consuming. They don't want you living on a farm, Sabrag, growing your own food, harvesting your own water, and recognizing, oh, they never created rain. They're trying to control rain, but they don't have the power. They're trying to control it, but they don't have the power.
Yeah, we
So,
have well water here, and they're trying to make well water illegal in Vegas.
What?
gee, I wonder why.
Yeah,
Probably to protect you.
yeah, yeah. So they can inject. So all these, if you drink the tap water here, it's horrendous. I mean, the chemical amount of chemicals.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah,
but harvesting your own water and having your own
yeah,
chickens and growing your own food,
yeah,
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
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 No, I mean we're like the biggest heathens over here. I have a massive 30-foot garden, picking broccoli and beans and kale, and I mean every night we're eating out of the garden. It's amazing. It's incredible.
That's
Fresh,
perfect.
real food, like, and you don't need that much of it. And since we started doing that, like, our kids' appetites have actually gone down because their bodies and cells are fueled with photosynthesized nutrition. So, I mean, it's every night. It's like, it's so fascinating to watch. It used to be this voracious appetite. And in the winter, it's harder, right? So, they'll get seconds. Now, it's like they're just fueled. They don't need it. They just housed a bunch of melon and now they're eating cucumbers and squash and zucchini and their bellies are full with nutrients. It's so amazing.
The mainstream is so focused on macronutrients, and it's so divorced from the energetics of a food. What I've been thinking about lately is food is literally just whatever sort of energetic intelligence we want to take in,
Hmm.
and that's what I even feel that like texture is a nutrient. Like I feel like with my whole sourdough thing, I feel the nutrition of the bread changes according to how well I make it. Like it nourishes me. The better that it is made, the more it nourishes me, even though technically it's the same flour. Um, there's just so many things, and I think if you look at people who like you look at a sushi chef in Japan, he looks like a fish. If someone eats a lot of pork, they look like pigs. It's like people we sort of like become.
Yes.
You can see it in their face. We become like what we eat, and so it's like there's all this focus on the macronutrients, but really we're just taking in energetic information and making it part of us. So naturally, if it's joyfully, freshly grown food that comes like from your garden, that's going to nourish you and empower you in a way that you're not going to get from that's these energetically divorced substances that are that we're normally being fed.
Yeah, and but coming back to the water piece, because that's something that this is criminal what they're doing to city water. And it's not just what they're putting it into the water, it's what we're putting into our bodies that are going to the water system. Think about all the birth control pills that you guys are consuming in city
Sure.
water. Like those aren't being pulled out in the water treatment facilities, all the Prozac and the lithium and all that
Yeah.
crap that people.
There are, I mean, Hilda, it's so obvious that the governments are criminals and m most corporations are criminals. They're all criminals. I mean, when they reach a certain level of wealth, it's really, I mean, I'm like a broken record. It's really the banks and they call them banksters. It's really them. They're just this cartel that are a bunch of criminals, and they're just stealing everything and again having this illusion of controlling everything. And they're controlling everything, but they have no power. They have no power, and the carrot's going to grow when it grows. And the our jobs are to stay as true as possible and to continue loving the carrot, not them, and remembering who God is, not them. I mean, they're really, really wanting you to think they're God. No, 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 no. Listen to us. I'm the science, right? Like I'm the authority. They have no authority over your sovereignty. None.
And
None.
extracting out of the Bible all the parts that talk about God being within us. That I mean, we are fractals of God. We are fractals of Source, experiencing itself through different forms of consciousness. It is really that simple. And this was what Christ's message was. Yeshua walked around talking about how to embody. He was the embodiment of that frequency of love, of compassion, of connection, of truth, of integrity. And he just embodied it and he showed people how to embody it. And all of that text in the Nag Hammadi was ripped out. And I mean, I truly question, Mussolini brought Hitler into the war through attacking Ethiopia. Why? What was
Because
so
they have the Bible there
boom?
that's
The
has all the
Jewish
secrets.
monks in Ethiopia were preserving these ancient texts that were not permitted in the Bible because those were the pieces. That was the gold. The God is you. You are God. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yep. And a lot of our origin stories and things like that with these strange beings and all that stuff is written in there. And then some people think that the Ark of the Covenant is still there. What was that? What kind of power does that have? You know, these are all huge questions that are just wiped away as conspiracy theories, just like I'm sure, yeah, everything's a conspiracy theory. I mean, at this point, whenever I hear a conspiracy theory, I just assume that's true, and whatever the narrative is has been false. I mean, that's because it just keeps proving itself over and over again that we've been lied to and we're conditioned again to be compliant and consumers. That's what they want most out of us, is just make sure you're spending the money here and you're not looking over there. And you don't want to be too kooky. You want to be we want you to fit like this because otherwise you're a weirdo and you don't fit. And exactly. And I was going to say the resurrection, right? The resurrection is such an important story because it's like the pinnacle of control that they want over you is the death penalty. They want to think about the punishments or what they can do to you, and I'm talking about like governments and states or whatever, they can kill you. I mean, that's the ultimate thing. They're like, oh, no, no, we're going to lock you in here. We're going to torture you. We're blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to kill you. And that's like the peak of their control. It's like, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to kill your family. Right. And a lot of us are very scared of that because again, we've been conditioned to not even know or embrace or understand death and spirit and afterlife and any of that. We've actually been conditioned to be very afraid of that and told not to take any substances that might give us windows into that, all of that stuff. So the power in the story of the resurrection is that, oh, you don't understand this thing that is inside of us, the kingdom of heaven. It is so powerful that it can it's the power that can bring a dead man alive again. So whatever your maximum control mechanism is against me, you don't understand. What I'm bowing to is beyond that because a dead man rose again, and that means it can happen again. And go ahead, try me. See, that's the power of faith and praise, because that's the thing that overpowers their peak control mechanism. Oh, I'm going to kill you. Okay, watch. And we see it. I mean, we see it happening in our own modern ways. And just like I said, they try to bury it, and it's not buried, it's planted. That's literally the resurrection. Bury it, planted. It grows into a movement that is called Christianity, Catholicism, whoever the followers are. And try and burying that. Try burying that. Who are you going to kill this time? Charlie Kirk? That's not working too well for them. I mean, that whole Charlie Kirk thing is exposing so much about how corrupt our government is and our institutions that are supposed to be honoring justice. They're doing the opposite. They literally paved over the crime scene the day after.
The day after.
Yeah, buried.
Paved over, buried it in cement. Like,
Yeah.
when does that happen?
Never. And there's
Never.
interviews with the people who were hired to pave that. Because you might give them the benefit of the doubt because good people do that. You know, oh, well, maybe they had a plan and maybe there was a mess up in the scheduling and they just did it. No, they hired them after the the murder happened, and they hired them in a frantic position. They said, "We have an emergency job. We need you to come tomorrow and pave this place." And the guy was like, "What is that?" He didn't understand. Like, I've never heard of that. And it's because they're covering this up. They're trying to bury it, and all it's doing is growing. It's planted, and they're their own worst enemies because they are grasping on to this control, and all that does is make them lose their power. And we can just smile and rest in our power.
Lies are weak. Liars are weak. I mean, like, you try and tell a lie. This is why, like, I can't lie to my kids about Santa Claus because I mean, like, my face changes, my whole energy changes. And I'm not going to sit there convincing the kids of something that is total bullshit. You know, I mean,
Right.
lies are weak. I mean, this is why all of their nefarious plans are backfiring and will continue to do so. And this is why I keep saying nothing can stop what is coming. And what is coming is this mass awakening. And I mean, it is here. We're in it, absolutely in it. But there's going to be tidal waves. I think there's a big wave coming July through October. Massive. Like,
I mean, I don't want to predict anything really negative, but it is the 250th anniversary of our country, and we are known for false flag operations to give us excuses to roll out new laws and make new wars happen. And so you could believe I don't want this to happen. I'm not manifesting it to happen, and I'm very happy if I'm wrong. I just that just seems like something that's like a low-hanging fruit for them. On
dude,
our 200, yeah.
100%. And all the disclosure movie that's coming out, like, how easy would it be for them to do a, Independence Day, like Blue Project Blue beam projection into the sky of a massive ship, on the 250th anniversary. Now, but if the World Cup wasn't right behind it, I would think that could be a likely scenario. But I really feel like this World Cup is so epic and uniting the entire world, and it's on our soil, which is wild. I mean, have you seen these videos going around about all these people who've never been to America and they're like, what we've been told is bullshit, like America's amazing.
Because it's the people. The people will always connect. You
That's
can
right.
go and take a Ukrainian and have them meet a Russian. And they, first of all, most of them speak Russian. So many Ukrainians just speak Russian. They grew up with Russian. And you just have them speak to each other and they can be friends easily. There's so much in common. It's a joke. It's literally laughable because there is so much in common. Same food. It's like everything is like shared. But their governments have convinced them again. They're good at controlling and conditioning us.
So we have to stop consenting. I mean, this is like, the repeat. I feel like I'm like a broken record, and like we keep saying this, but the thing is, they keep us exhausted, and when people are exhausted, they give up their power. And then the other piece is people jump so quickly to being victims. And I think even those of us in the truther world, right, the tinfoil hat wearing community, who've been asking all these questions and seeing through the veil and standing in the light of truth, there's been a lot of anger, outrage, disgust, disdain, frustration, and rage towards the controllers for manipulating us.
Mhm.
So it's again, it's we've been putting ourselves in this victim mentality. I've been super guilty of it for years as a conspiracy theorist, as a truther, it's us against them. And that's something that I've recently really stepped away from, that I'm no fucking victim. I'm not a victim of anybody's anything. Put shit in the skies. We're still here. We are overriding that bullshit. There's strontium, barium, mercury, aluminum in our soil. Guess what? My garden's thriving this year. Last year, it was crap. But this year, I mean, actually, the last 2 years, I couldn't grow a tomato to save my life. Now, everything's coming up. The difference, I prayed over the garden and I was like, nothing is stopping us. Got it? Every single seed I put in with love. I put in with intention, and I'm like, nothing is going to stop you guys. We're doing this. We're doing this together. We're rising in the light, And I mean, I can't think of any other reason why the garden is thriving this year compared to last year. We've had so many chemtrails in Maryland. It is out of control, but I'm no longer choosing to be a victim of it. Ain't gonna
Perfect.
happen. Not under my will.
Yeah. Step into your power. That's it. Just remember your power and forget all the rest. The rest of the things that they're conditioning you to believe, forget it all. It's all story. It's all fake. It's an illusion. They just want to control stuff. And remember, the more they control, the less power they have. Less you control, the more power you have. Don't try to control it. It's perfect. You just step into your power. You can literally be locked in a jail cell and you can take down every single person who's trying to keep you trapped there. You have that power without a gun, without a sword, without anything violent. You can convert all of those people into understanding because if you've fully stepped into your power. The only way that they can keep you trapped there is if you believe they have power. They don't. They don't. They don't have power because they're controlling you. Whenever anybody is controlling something, they're losing their power over that thing. They do not have power over you. They have control, but they don't have power. So step into your power and you can make a dead man rise again. You can make a dead crop rise again. That's how it works.
So let me ask, I want to ask both of you this question because we all get this, right? And we've been on this journey for a long time. All three of us have been meditating and practicing yoga and stepping away from mainstream and on this awakening path and spiritually connected and tapped into pretty potent communities, right? And on the self-realization path. So for the people who haven't been and who are waking up at hyper speed now, um, you know, I'm questioning because I believe it can happen in a split second that we can shift. But I believe that coming from the journey that I've been on, which has been a 30-year process plus. What do you all think as far as people who are just coming to this dawn, of this new age and this new realization? How do they step into their power? What are the most proactive ways to access this power within?
I have an answer. Sabrag, though, do you want to go? Because I've been talking a lot.
Sure, I'll go, and then I'm going to hear yours. Um, I would say attention and concentration of your attention. So instead of like if you close your eyes, you can feel where your attention's being pulled. Like, and the attention's being pulled is a sort of wherever it's going towards, and just bringing it back into yourself, bringing it back to your body is a place to start. For me, the most potent and centered place is just the third eye center, just being there and sitting there. And it just takes practice. It doesn't happen all the way. And then once there's a sort of a sense of centeredness where your attention's not being just completely pulled to the outside and you have a sense of yourself on the inside, then completely following your intuition and your gut, like no matter what the external says. So, which basically means don't just do whatever feels right. If there's something that feels heavy, there's something that you don't want to do, something that just, for whatever explain, you just don't want to do something, don't do it. And if you want to do something, do it. And really learn to trust that inner instinct and inner guide. And things should feel light. They should feel free. They should feel, you know, uh, as if they're happening on their own magic, basically. So step into the magic and just flow with it.
I love that. Scott?
That's perfect. I mean, you're saying exactly what I was about to say in your own beautiful words. Step into the magic. The way I practically think of that is, first of all, yes, practice, right? So practice a daily thing that cultivates intuition, because intuition is a very bizarre concept for us who grew up in America. We don't even
Yeah.
understand. What does that mean? My gut, my follow my heart. What does that mean? Like we don't get that. So where I've been able to cultivate that is through practices like meditation, which you can find tons of things online about how to meditate, breath being part of that, like slow box breathing, that that drops me in to my intuition. Because Sabrag, you're saying things that for us growing up in America are so like hazy. You're like, follow your intuition. How? So, and you're like, ignore the noise. How? And it's like, yeah, find a daily practice that cultivates the intuition, makes it stronger in you so that you can see it more clearly. Because just like anything with practice, it gets better. You get better at it. Then when you kind of cultivate that with like a lot of practice, and your practice can look different than anyone else's, it can be your own thing. Um, I feel like the simple way to put it is figure out what your gifts are and lean into them, even if they're not obvious ways to make money. But like, what are you just naturally? Every one of us has some natural random thing that we're good at, and that just flows in us. We all have our unique stuff.
You
And
might have to ask somebody what that is.
sure, yeah,
Sometimes you don't you're so good, the grace has filled you so much that you do something so naturally you might not even know it.
yeah,
So
you might think it's like the way everyone is.
yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
no, 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 everybody knows how to balance on a slack line perfectly and walk across 10 feet. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
there's like people who've been practicing that for months and fall every time, but you just like flow across it so perfectly. How did you do that? Oh, I don't know. It's just like I thought everyone did. Yeah, you're right. So sometimes you need to ask if you don't know what it is.
I
But
know for Alethea, for example, the first line that came to in my mind when I met her was crystalline embodiment of divine grace. She's such a graceful, talented person, and I think one of my roles is just to reflect that back to her. She doesn't even know how amazing she is and everything that she does sometimes. So
well, that's adorable. You should clip that part and send it to her.
I know that was
I
really sweet. So sweet.
I tell her that every day.
And I would say, I mean, my answer would be embodiment.
Yeah.
And I know that we've talked about this being last year our word of the year was discernment, and this year the word is embodiment. But I think it's embodiment because it's embodiment of whatever that is, whatever your gifts are, whatever your passion is, whatever your skill sets are, whatever your beliefs are. And for some people, it's completely embodying Kundalini yoga. For other people, it's completely embodying mountain biking or rock climbing. For other people, it's completely embodying Christ-like being, whatever it is. But I think that that is the path forward. No matter what it is, there's all these different avenues, access points. But you can be passionate about this and try that and be great at that, be clever at that, never embody anything, and you're never going to get there. But then you can be crap at everything, really amazing at this one thing, and you're just the embodiment of it. And boom, it drops you right in.
Yes, and it can be as simple as I like animals. Guess
Yes.
what? Guess what? That's one of those ones that Sabrag was mentioning that somebody might not even recognize in themselves because, wait, I thought everybody loves animals. Actually, no. There's a lot of people who can't stand animals, who are allergic to animals, who are afraid of animals, all that. If you love animals, that can be one of your gifts. It doesn't have to be, I'm like Jesus. I love animals. That's a great place to start. Oh, go volunteer at a animal shelter or go start walking your neighbor's dog or get a dog.
Rescue.
Unlock the gift that is you love animals. A lot of people don't have the natural thing that says, I love animals so much. I want to be around them all the time. I want to pet them. I want to love them. What a gift that you want to love something on this planet so much and that you think about them all the time and that you look up pictures of them all the time and your Instagram feed and algorithm understands that about you so much. That's a gift. That's not everybody. That's
Yeah.
not everybody. So it can be as simple as that. And I promise you, if you begin with that, it might lead to things that you unlock and had no idea about yourself that are more like Christ-like things that started with this love and natural desire to connect with something in this on this planet that you just naturally are drawn to and just go lean into it. And then the other piece I'd like to say is the ones that are scary that people think you're crazy for. Those are really important to lean into too.
Mm.
Because I have random friends who say, "Oh, I just always hear voices. I try to go to bed at night, but I hear voices of like my randomly, I'll just hear a conversation that my friends are having, and I don't even know where it's coming from. And that scares me. And I need like to see a psychiatrist because I think I'm crazy. It's like, no, you have like some natural gift to have a window into the information. Lean into that. That's not crazy. I cannot believe we've been so convinced to shove us into this little idea of what it means to be human when like you can be anything. You can be a person who can tap into conversations that are happening in the future or right now or whatever. You can be that. Lean into that. What is that? That sounds like a great gift. Lean into it. Don't try to squash it with like some pharmaceutical that a psychiatrist tells you you're like a multi-personality or whatever bullshit thing they come up with so that you can become more normal. Well, you just want to lay around and watch Netflix and be poisoned with food and feel empty? Or do you want to lean into this magical gift you have and recognize that this is like a key? You're one of the pieces of the puzzle to the whole carrot that's growing.
And the other part of that, there are a lot of people out there who might still not know, and they might not. Their intention might be scattered. They might not know what their purpose is. Where do I even start? Is the whole thing is too overwhelming. And what I've learned and what my experience is literally put one foot in front of the other, which can mean do the next thing that occurs to you that feels natural, like you're being pulled to do. It could be make your bed. It could be sweep the floor. It could be go on a walk. It could just be sit and do nothing for 20 minutes and just be with yourself. It literally, it doesn't matter what it is as long as you feel, okay, well, that seems to be the next. And it could be completely random. And it could be completely not in the mainstream goal of what you have to do. Like, I have to go to work. I have to get my I have to go. No, but I just been wanting to go to this one shop, like way on the other side. I'm just going to go there today. Or, whatever it is, because a lot of times what I've noticed is I've been working on things, but the full picture of what's possible is not ready to be revealed yet. So this little piece here might be something that's going to be useful later, or this delay that happened is just a kind of a cosmic procrastination because it's not supposed to happen then. Like you said, we can't push it. One of the things that I'm noticing now is there's a lot of things that's been delayed and procrastinated until a week ago that's been on my palette and in my field of awareness and goals until last week. And largely it has to do with AI had to catch up. So now with no budget. I'm paying $100 a month. I'm able to get millions of dollars of programming work done by myself, not as a programmer. If I was paying developers to do what I was doing now in the last 2 weeks, at least $1 million, maybe two, because it's so potent and so powerful. But there was all this pressure from my company, from all the people around. Get money, go get investors, hire the developer, keep this going. We have to. You need, and then there was just something inside me. Either if we tried that, it didn't work out, or it's just like no. And now I know why, because now I can do it better than any developer would do it. It's free and it's faster, and so I've been having this feeling for a long time that the creative process goes, I create what I imagine, and just go into existence. I've just known for 10 years this is what it's supposed to feel about. I'm supposed to be in my imagination and go, and it just happens. So that's where the embodiment part comes in, though, too, Hilda, because of this level of technological development, that any sort of external skill can basically be taken over by technology or robots. If it's not in you and you're just a robot, you're at your job, you're just plugging away, you're going to be replaced. Guaranteed. Like, there's very little place so instead of being robots, we have to become fully human. So we have to, all the stuff that I'm doing with the AI, I have to fully embody it, understand it, and live it and feel it, and completely, and all cells of my body, all of my nervous system, all my brain, I have to dream about it, breathe it. So it's literally embodying all the stuff that I'm doing and then using the AI to express it.
Yeah,
But
manifest.
if you're taking somebody else's orders and you're just doing labor,
Yeah.
you're done.
And all these people are like, "Oh my gosh, AI, it's terrifying. It's gonna take away all these jobs." And I'm like, dude, let it. Like,
Yeah,
y'all aren't doing a good job anyway. Like, mediocrity has become the norm. So
yeah,
it's forcing humanity to rise. And if people are bummed about their jobs going bye-bye, hey, plan ahead. Like, I don't know
yeah,
what to tell you. Find your skill set, find your passion, get in your heart and embody it, because there's so much AI cannot do and will never do. But I love that AI is allowing us to manifest. Like, you are the prime example in your story that you just shared. Like, it literally allows us to manifest things, which is awesome. It's a tool. That's it. It's a pretty awesome
Yeah,
tool, but I'm seeing
I'm
so many more limitations with it, right? Than in the beginning, we were all like, whoa, this is amazing. And now I'm kind of like, meh,
yeah.
it's very, what I've noticed is very good for right now is logic.
yeah,
So like for my what I'm doing, the musical stuff, I'm experiencing these intergalactic realms of harmonic resonance and all these colors and feelings and movements and things that are very emotional and personal. But there's a logical underpinning, a mathematics to how I kind of get there. And so literally I tell Claude something and it goes, do you want to, yes, okay, forward, yes, forward, and then it gets like 95% of the way there every time.
amazing.
And so just knowing what's limitation, like how much it can, what a chunk it can take at a time, because it's not going to do everything all at once. But I'm giving it some good stuff. Now, what's funny though is, like, I asked it. This is where you have to understand the limitations of the tool. I asked it this morning. So, Claude, given the trajectory of all that we've been doing the last 2 days, or sorry, 2 weeks, how much longer do you think this project will take? Knowing, I've told it basically what I have to do, and it gave me this whole thing of like, well, probably 3 to 6 months if you want to do everything that you want to do. And so we created this strategy together. Well, let's knock out the hardest part first, and then after that hardest part's done, then we'll have a better idea of how long it will take. So it had estimated at least 6 to 8 days for this one part that we were going to rework. It did it in 30 minutes.
Wow. Awesome.
Perfect. And so all of these things, so I've been going through this list all day long of all this stuff that it would, there's this other guy I've seen, you might have come from your feed too, is like, okay, ChatGPT, I'm going to run a mile. Can you time me? And it's like, yes, of course I'll time you, no problem. and so and it says, okay, good, I'm gonna run a mile, and then it just like he comes back like 3 seconds later, okay, I'm back. It's like, well done. And it was like, how long was that? Well, it was about 7 minutes and 10 seconds. It's like, so there's this like really big disconnect of really understanding what it can do and what it can't do. And if you can lean like this with the cloud, the programming is it. There's no human on the planet who could do a better job, right? Than what he's doing. Even if it was taking time, they still wouldn't understand the problem in the way that it's being understood. So anyway,
Yeah, it's a powerful tool, but it is just a tool.
yeah,
And I would correct one of the things that you said about laborers, because there's some people who labor from love, and it
yeah,
will never replace those laborers.
Never.
If
no.
somebody's doing a labor of love,
Yeah.
even if it's just rudimentary, like something that the
Well,
AI can do.
that's because it's embodied.
Mhm.
It's your full self expression. So someone like for example, everybody can, a robot can make bread now, but I have people clamoring down like for my bread because I'm doing it with complete love. And so when they eat it, this is the best bread I've ever had. So something like that, an AI or a machine or anything like that could never even come
Right.
close to baking the. I could tell it all the processes, give it the temperatures, tell all this stuff, and it won't ever replicate it. So
Right. It can't replace the love and the
no,
prana. It's just the
no,
prana is irreplaceable. It's something that comes from beyond. And whatever people are doing, they don't need to feel from the way you were expressing that insecure about where they're at if they're doing it from love, even if it is
absolutely.
something that people might look as, oh, that's just, you're just doing some simple labor thing that a
Yeah, and
robot can.
what I meant is an unembodied, empty skill where you're just going up and you're showing up and you're being robot like. You're showing
Right.
up at your job. But if you're fully embodied and that's your truth and that's your passion, there will always be a way for it. And
Yeah.
people want humans, so we're not going to completely.
Yeah. I mean, I envision the future as being, of course, a hybrid.
Yeah,
And I think it's going to become very clear what's AI, what's not. And I think just like when you want to go buy organic food or not organic food, or you want, you know, uh, I don't know, it's only 10% synthetics in your cloth. I think people are going to have that as a demand. And I think that as much as these controllers have control, they know they don't control our and they can't control our discernment in where we spend.
yeah,
And so you're going to have consumers and they want you to be consumers. And they're not going to be able to force you to consume specific things. They can try, they can try to give you no competition, but that doesn't ever work. That's how a lot of economies collapse, is if they try to force, or if monopolies become too big, they collapse because then it just becomes this one thing and it has no competition. So I think there's going to be demand from the consumer
yeah,
for non-AI versus AI. And the benefits of getting something that's AI, just like the benefits of getting non-organic food or synthetic clothing, will be that it's cheaper and that it has certain qualities that the organic stuff doesn't have. And so some people want that. Some people really do, especially like if they're feeding massive amounts of people and they're in this big corporation or whatever, they want like non-organic food, or if they need to build all these uniforms for them all to wear, they want the synthetic materials. But there's eventually it's going to be labeled, and it's going to be AI, some AI, no AI. And that's going to be across all things that products that you can buy, and that includes things like media, music, etc. I mean, the music is mind blowing what you can do
It's
with
mind
music.
blowing. Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Right
Well,
now,
one of the reasons why I've gone social on my business page is I'm just posting myself. I'm talking with the horses. I'm talking about my relationships. I'm just talking about things that come to my mind as a human. Is because, especially in the last weeks of really understanding how fast programming is and how fast these things could be replicated, like, anybody can essentially do it. But my goal is essentially that it's, again, it's about embodiments. You can have the thing, you can have the tool, but how do you use it? what's your personal experience with it? And hey, this tool is made as human. He's using AI, but there's a human behind it and driving it and expressing it. So I'm instead of having this sort of like typical music technology corporate facade where you don't see authentic humans, you might see some well lit thing of a person in a studio or whatever. I'm going the opposite. I'm just saying, hey, this is my life, da, 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 and I'm doing infinitone and doing this cool stuff because yeah, I mean this could be copied. I mean it's going to be patented and all that stuff, but who knows? You could just there's if everybody just starts making their own copy of it, how can you can't control that.
I
But
know. I mean,
so
yeah, because the peak danger in that is, I can't remember if it was Elon. One of them said, "You're not even going to have apps anymore. It's really just going to be like you go up to your phone and you say, 'I need a thing that does this, and I need to do it
yeah,
now,' and then the phone just generates it for you because it's very specific to you and your needs." That's like a far future kind of
I
idea.
don't think it's that far future. Like seeing in terms of like what Claude is doing for me now. I mean, I'm thinking maybe 1 to 2 years. And so what I'm trying to do now with the Claude is sort of also train it on this domain knowledge, such that hey, there's this kind of set of logic, and you can put out this thing. There's this kind of set of logic. So people who have this idea, I had a dream. I woke up and it was doing this kind of thing, and I say I want to do that. Well, it's trained to how to know those sort of capabilities, such that it does those things. But also, what I realized too is because I'm not paying an I'm not getting another $1 million of investment for developers to do this. I can actually provide this at a price that's affordable for people. I mean, it's been my dream to be able to do that. I don't have to charge $400 or $500 like most pro software. I can have all these major upgrades, and I can charge something that people can afford, and that gives people access, gives humanity access to these new harmonic possibilities, and that's cool. I like the price drop in that regard too.
Yeah, very cool. I think it's going to take a long time. I don't see it only being 2 years because in the world I live in and the way I've been using it,
Yeah,
it can do miraculous things like you're saying, but it's like really specific things.
yeah,
And if you want to bend it and maneuver it and massage it, it is real. My experience with
yeah,
it is pretty rigid in its like ability to get flexible
yeah,
and maneuver. It just kind of does its thing. And if you're okay with just living with what it does and then just kind of building on that, then yeah. But
mhm,
if you are, I mean, in the world I come from, so there's two things. One, the world I come from is intellectual property, right? So like
yeah,
protecting the integrity of a thing that became wildly successful. So
yeah,
if you think of the world of Star Wars, which I'm really involved in right now,
Hmm.
they are very careful with how they protect the way Darth Vader looks, the way he moves, the
yeah,
way whatever, however many buttons are on his chest, blah, blah, blah. That keeping that through with AI right now is like impossible because AI hallucinates and creates all of
yeah,
its own little things. So that is it's far from. The other thing is uh, very particular iterations in I'm talking about generative AI right now. I'm not talking about
yeah,
coding and logic based stuff. I'm talking
yeah,
about generating creative things. It's um it's so far off. I mean, I just, and it's been far off for a while. I mean, I've been playing with the video generators since they kind of first released with Sora and then Veo and all these. And it's just very far. Like I said, it does a miraculous thing right off the bat. You just give it a screen grab of a character and you're like, hey, do something dope with this. And it'll like do something really dope. You're like,
yeah,
wow, that would have taken my CGI people and all that, weeks and weeks and weeks to accomplish. However, then you want to iterate and maneuver and
yeah,
to build on and it's like totally impossible because it'll
yeah,
it'll do the change, but then it'll like add extra other weird things, and
yeah,
it'll do that. Yeah, so I think it's going to take a long time, but I think of course, it's going to get there. It's going to
oh
get
yeah,
there, and it's going to be really amazing. And I think in the music world, for as far as I can tell, it's like insane. I know it generates voices that probably will start to sound the same. Like I think people start to pick up on it and go, oh, this sounds a little AI. But in the moment, it's such a wow factor how you can just create any type of song and you can write the lyrics and it's like having this incredible vocalist just sitting there in a booth and you can be like,
Yeah.
"Da-da-da-da, sing these lyrics." And it's just like this guy sings out this insane, beautiful verse that you wrote up. And you're like, God, that is like a miracle. Like how?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to be a really interesting future.
It is. And on that note, it's really funny. Sam put on, we were driving around this a couple of months ago, actually, but we're driving around and he puts on Eminem doing Frank Sinatra. And he goes, and it was Shady's back. And it was this Slim Shady, Shady's back. Right? But it was a jazz song. And
Yeah.
Sam was totally messing with me. And he was like, dude, check it out. Eminem. This is so amazing. You're gonna love this. Had me fooled for like 30 minutes, that Eminem has gone jazz. And it was unbelievable. I mean, it was better than Eminem.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. But I do, the imagery, like images. I mean, it's cool. It is incredible what it's doing, but there are limitations. And I also think, I mean, we have a long ways to go before these data centers can be what they need to be to get to the place where we're talking about.
Right.
And that's a whole other discussion, and that's a whole other can of worms. And that's actually very concerning. It's very concerning. Land, water, noise pollution, ecosystems, but also frequency manipulation.
Yeah. And
And
that plays into the consumer side, which is what if we do have any control, I'm not telling people to go try and control this, but they want us to consume. So if you're making a product that everybody's mad at and their neighborhood was destroyed by and their water is brown now because of it, they're not going to be interested in paying money for that product. So that is a problem in and of itself that they need to solve. They need it to be popular and for people to like it in order for it to succeed. They cannot just keep this scam up where they're all paying each other with venture capitalist money and then doing that circle. They can't keep that up forever because they need consumers to support it. And by the way, Sabrag, your monthly fee that you're paying that's very cheap,
Yeah.
that's subsidized by all the venture capitalists funding it because
Yeah.
right now they are interested in gaining people like you
Yeah.
to use it a lot so that
Mhm.
you can replace what would cost a lot of money in coders. We
Yeah.
don't, right now, we don't fully understand the actual cost of that.
Yeah.
Like, let's say far into the future where it does start to do all these great things, but then they are not subsidized by all of this fake money, then they're going to be like, well, actually, remember that thing we charged $100 a month for? It's actually like 10,000 a month. But we were
Yeah.
charging you 100 a month because we were really interested in people getting into it and we wanted to gain all these users and blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So there's just so much that needs to be sorted out. And I think the most important one though is what Hilda was touching on, which is the people who they want to pay for it hate it. So they only can sell so much of this to governments and corporations. They need
Yeah.
like $10 a month subscribers and users and all the people who are on YouTube and stuff and all the content creators using it. They need us to use it and to enjoy it and to like it and to want it. And
Mhm.
right now, you don't have the moment where Steve Jobs walks on the stage and says, I have 10,000 songs I'm putting it into your pocket, where everyone's like, wow, technology is making something great for me. You have the opposite. I don't know if you guys saw, Snapchat dropped 10% the day he introduced the glasses. No one wants it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
people are very angry right now. So they need to, if they want it to succeed and to become something that's not like, hey, come on, eat glyphosate filled shit food, they have to make it more popular. And right now, it's the equivalent of glyphosate filled crap food that a lot of people are rejecting. And they're
Yeah.
worried about them attacking. I'm sure you may have seen where they openly talked about how they're investing trillions in these data centers and they're worried that they're exposed where somebody could fly a drone. This is an exact quote from the guy who runs BlackRock. He's like, somebody can buy a $3,000 drone and blow up our entire data center. He's like, that's a
Yeah.
vulnerability and that's all of our investment. So, like, what are we going to do about that? Why is he thinking like that? He's
Yeah.
thinking like that because he knows everybody hates this right now. Like a lot of people are very like angry. They're angry because it's going to take their jobs. They're angry because of the ecological impact that it's causing. And no one is really feeling the excitement about what it's doing for them.
Yeah.
Like if they were selling something like 10,000 songs in your pocket, where they were like, check it out, this really adorable, cute, fuzzy robot's going to show up and do all your laundry. That's something like people maybe like go like, yay, cool. That might mitigate the anger about all the ecological impacts and everything else. But where's our fuzzy, cute robot that's going to do our laundry, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's sort of like anything new. You're taking on this new thing, and you hope that you get through the cringe, awkward phase of it, because you got to get something out there. I mean, I know as an inventor, as someone who's creating new technologies, there's a whole lot of slop and heaviness and drudgery and mistakes and all that stuff that just come along with trying something new, and you don't have the benefit of having gone through those decades yet of like anybody now who was able, if someone were to look at Infinitone or anything like that, oh, I could make something like that in a couple, in a few months. Well, I had to go through decades of struggle. So my hope is that, yeah, I mean, there's hopefully, like with the data centers, well, maybe they're going to make more efficient data centers. Maybe I mean, I saw this other startup that's like, well, how does the brain work? So we're going to make these data processing that function the way the brain does. So there's new technologies that are going to come out of that and replace them. And so, I mean, everything has this slop at first, and it gets smaller and more efficient. And you can see the bigger picture of, oh, what this really is, and this stuff which we thought it was going to be. Well, it's not that anymore. But you had to get it out there and get out of the way. It's part of the process of innovation. I mean,
That's
if,
part
if,
that's partly true, but also not everything. You just go back to, there are few in our lifetime, but someone like Steve Jobs or
yeah,
Elon, as he was back when he was introducing the Teslas, they were able to disrupt without the slop. They were able to bring out this phone, which he called the iPhone, back in 2008, that was like nothing like the touch screens, because there were touch screens by Microsoft and others before.
mhm.
It was nothing like any of that. And so
But that's after. I mean, I haven't dug so deep into this story, but starting off, I mean, it was maybe on a smaller scale, but the first time you start to get this component and put it together, it's big and clunky and doesn't work. So but now it's on a more massive scale. It's like they're not just in their garage or like working with a couple of things where this, or it's not me where it's like this is something that requires a bigger data sets and bigger things. So it's probably more obvious, but I imagine it's going to collapse and become more efficient. We're going to figure out what it's actually. I mean, for me, if I'm getting way more than $10,000 a month of value out of what Claude is doing now. So
and
if it
that
were to
might,
cost, if it were to
yeah,
cost 5,000, I'd be like, great deal.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying you need like we're missing right now the big dreamer that walks out on the stage and sells us. We
Yeah,
haven't been there's cases, of course, use cases like you're talking about that people are
yeah,
excited about. But
yeah.
overall, you're not the typical consumer.
No,
What Steve Jobs was able to do was make something that is complicated and difficult,
yeah,
accessible to a 4-year-old.
yeah,
And that means that hundreds and hundreds of millions of consumers all over the world understand it like that and are excited and want to buy it.
yeah,
And there is yet to be an AI guy to walk out there. You have the NVIDIA guy coming out with his leather jacket and he's talking about faster processors and things like that. And
yeah.
that's semi exciting
Yeah.
for the small group of people who are in the inside.
Mhm.
It's a
But
niche group.
right, it's a niche group. We have yet to see, like I said, the fuzzy robot that's going to come and do your laundry. And there are some that are getting close to that, but that's what we have yet to see. We have yet to see the Steve Jobs moment walking out with the iPhone where you get it like that. There's no like, no, it's nuanced and it's this, it's that. It's like, no, I'm going to buy this. I cannot wait to buy this. I'm going to stand out on the line outside of the Apple store on the release date because I can't wait to buy it. You have nothing like that in
Well,
AI world.
maybe the reason for it is like what you're saying is the reason why it's cheap is because they're using people like me to get hooked, to train it, to use it, to make it better. Whereas in the past, those kinds of iteration processes were more hidden. And this
Hmm.
requires all of us coming together to feel like to really iterate and work through all these weird complexities to get to that point. So it's maybe it's just more it's out in the open and obvious than any other tech, but there's gonna be somebody or something that comes along that does that. It's just
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
public now as opposed to behind closed doors.
There needs to be the fuzzy robot, the
Yeah.
cute
They're done.
pet. There
Yep.
needs to be that cute pet that everybody wants and doesn't worry about it spying on them and giving everything to the government.
Yeah.
We're in a really strange place.
We are.
And if it's going to succeed, you need
Yeah.
people to believe in institutions, believe in
Totally.
corporations, and so there is so much that's different than 2008 when he walked out with the iPhone that needs to change because no matter how much they want to pretend, it's not going to work if nobody wants to buy it. And having some coders buy it is not enough. Having a
Mhm.
couple of companies and the government do contracts so that they can spy on us, that's not enough for the impact to be as big as, say, the iPhone. For the
Mhm.
impact to be as big, the iPhone was such a disruptor, and so were Teslas. In our lifetime, I believe it
Mhm.
was really iPhones and Teslas. And those were like these things that just kind of like completely changed the industry. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, it went from we were before iPhone and then we were after iPhone. After iPhone, every single phone started to look like an iPhone. Every
Mhm.
single phone. It went from before the iPhone to every phone looks like an iPhone now, today in 2026. This is so it's almost 20 years later, and every phone looks like an iPhone.
Yeah.
20 years later. And the first iPhone, if you go pick up an old original iPhone, it kind of acts like what the new iPhones look like. It's unbelievable. And that is the same thing with the Mac. If you
Mhm.
go and open up the first Mac, which was in 1984, and
Yeah.
you play around on the desktop, it's like the same thing. There's folders, you know how to open up things. Everything's the GUI, the graphic user interface.
Yeah.
So there was before Macintosh and there's after Macintosh. There's before iPhone, there's after iPhone. There's before Teslas and after Teslas. Because before Teslas, you had like three companies or two companies try electric vehicles and they all like failed. After Teslas, so many electric cars popped up in every car company, every single car company. So everyone's trying AI. They are, but there's not. I'm just trying to build the case for if it wants to succeed, it needs to be loved and excited people, but by all consumers, not just by niche groups. And you could be right. This is like a giant beta test, and this isn't like a product release. It's more of like a beta test.
Yeah.
We're all just kind of playing around. It's the Wild West, and then eventually it'll culminate into one kind of product that everybody's excited about.
I mean, I know what I'm doing personally. I mean, is gonna the ability to actually create what I've been imagining for so long finally is in my hands. I imagine that I'm not the only one. So even though if it's like at the moment, well, maybe I'm a niche case where it's like someone who actually loves it and is using it really efficiently and really beneficially. There's got to be other people like me who are going to come out. Maybe it's not the AI is the thing, but maybe someone, there's other people, indie people like me, like like Billie Eilish came out with her album that she recorded in her bedroom, and that completely changed the sound of pop music for a long time. That was massive. That was one of those things that sort of changed music sound. And I'm here sitting in a refrigerator truck creating technology that can literally change like everything about how we experience human consciousness. And I imagine that there are other people. So maybe it's not the product, but maybe it's going to give rise to other things which will have a better help us to better understand of what it can do because I'm having a better understanding of what it can do and how it can be beneficial. So and I think I mean, I don't know if this is a parallel. I had a friend who told me, and maybe you know this, you probably know this better, Scott, is Google was originally an they thought it was an information company. It's like, how are we going to monetize getting all this information to people? But what it turns out it was it's an advertising company. So they give you information, but that's not the product. The product is advertising. So there might be some other completely side benefit to all of this that we're doing that might not be what perceived at the moment.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of brings up what I think Hilda's tuned into in her heart, which is that their side hustle is control and surveillance on us.
Yeah,
Like they're trying to sell us what you're talking about, which is, oh, it's going to make you save money on this programming, and it's going to, you listen. By the way, just FYI, I use
yeah,
AI all the time, and
yeah.
I'm like totally into it. And my personal journey with it is because I have clients who hire me for stuff. Is I just am super transparent if I'm going to use it, and I show
Yeah,
them before I do it. I say,
yeah,
this is my idea to use it. Are you cool with it? Are you not? Surprisingly, a lot of companies are super against it
yeah,
because of all the legal ramifications behind it.
yeah,
Um, because there's so many implications, but whatever, like
yeah,
cool. I have no idea what the future is going to hold, and I am excited about what it can do.
yeah,
However, I think the vibe right now and the resonance in people's hearts is this is not good.
yeah,
Like not because the
yeah,
fear of it taking our jobs and things like that, more of where's the inspiring guy that came out and said I'm putting 10,000 songs into your pocket
yeah,
that's going to make your life feel good. That
yeah.
means I can just walk around with 10,000 songs and be on the beach and listen to music. That's a wonderful experience. There's yet to be a leader in that industry who makes us feel super inspired and excited. Instead, you hear about the data centers destroying environments. You
Mhm.
hear about government contracts to help kill people like Palantir, and you don't get that inspired by these guys.
Well,
X.
what about you probably know about this way more than me. Again, I don't follow news and I don't follow news deeply to figure out all the details, but what about this story of Ukraine taking the bombs from Russia, reverse engineering them, making them open source, and using that force against them? I mean, is that
I mean, does that make you feel warm and fuzzy like 10,000 songs in your pocket
no?
and
But
walking the
I'm
beach?
saying is it's like that's like as a way of uh, efficiently. It's a new approach to problem solving.
Sure, if I walked out on a stage and said that to a crowd, they wouldn't get warm and fuzzy
No,
and feel happy.
no,
So I'm trying to say, like, at the end of the day, the
yeah,
max out this timeline. You
right,
want people to
yeah,
be on board to want to buy a product, to pay for it,
right,
because the governments alone can't pay for it,
yeah,
and just a couple corporations can't pay for it if no one is buying it.
yeah,
So how do you make people stand out the line? I mean, you remember Apple stores when they released a
yeah,
new iPhone,
oh
lines
yeah,
out the door, lines out the door, lines out the door. How
yeah,
do you inspire that in people with this
right,
product? Right now, it's on the opposite side of that. Right now, you have people who want to bomb it with
right,
drones.
yeah, it's true.
This is coming
So,
back to how their agendas always backfire. And there's only so long that you can oppress the people and make them feel powerless and render them dominated and controlled by these controllers, these governments, whatever, corporations, oligarchs, monopolies. And their plan has backfired because they have not been fueling a society of innovators. They've been fueling society of worker bees who are numbed
Yeah,
out, dulled down, and divided and uninspired. And
yeah,
so they need somebody like you're talking about. And there should have been more Steve Jobses when in his era too. He was one of a kind. Why was there only one? Because they have backfired their entire agenda. There is not going to be another Steve Jobs coming out on stage. We have to be the ones, and it's a collective unified field now. And I do think the tables are going to turn. And I think this is why there really is an opportunity for the entire planet to shift possibly as soon as 2030. Because until
I've been feeling
climate is not matrix, not surveillance, not control and dominance, and claim their power back. Because we all want warm fuzzy, we want inspiration, we want passion. It's what's lacking. The youth now, I mean, my daughter at 15, she and her friends, they're not kissing boys. They're saving themselves for marriage. My daughter doesn't care about drinking and partying or any of that stuff. The pendulum is swinging the opposite direction. The agendas are failing. The nefarious agendas are failing.
Yeah, and there's a revival of faith and religion. And
Yes.
that's because people are the I'm not against AI. I'm just saying like whatever they're trying to do is not working because people instead are like saying, I want to turn off my screen and I want to get into nature. And by the way, I think that's great. However, I also think there's a balance. Great. There could be a world where people are as excited about AI as they were about the new what that like an iPad, an iPhone, an iPod, whatever the next product was back then. Whatever they're doing in that industry right now is having the opposite effect of what they want. You have so many people, the masses. I'm not talking about you, Sabrog, or developers,
Yeah.
or, there's great stories, and I've used it, and it's been a very useful tool for me in all sorts of ways. But the masses are not feeling that warm and fuzzy inspiration. The masses are feeling manipulated and trying to be controlled, and they want to rise up, and they are turn. I'm friends with people in their early 20s, and they're just like not having it. They're not that excited. My nieces, they're like just graduating high school. None of them are like fucking hell yeah, you know. I think we lost Sabrog, but but anyway, you understand what I'm saying, Hilda. Yeah, it's like there's just a the industry as a whole is having the opposite effect of what they want. And I think it's connected to because everything's kind of melded together into this control group. It's like the governments, corporations, the banks, they're all kind of one like globby thing that like
Vanguard, BlackRock.
we're all just kind of like ill. Like I don't want anything to do with it. Um, and most people, this is why there's the revival of faith, and this is why there's a revival of nature and grounding your feet into the ground and all that wonderful stuff, because people are just kind of like, what is this? What is it doing for me? Like, why? Like I said, the Snapchat guy, he tried unveiling these glasses. There was some news release about Mark Zuckerberg having a pendant that's on your chest that, like, no, show
Nobody
me
wants
why
that.
that's making, right. Why is that making my life better? Am I excited about that? Like, and they have yet to sell me on that. Like, sell me on that. Show me, like I said, something that would sell me is a really cute, fuzzy, adorable robot that says funny catchphrases that does my laundry. That would sell me. Siri's calling, if you remember him back in the day with the podcast.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, but this
What's that, bro?
what we were talking about. Sam and I the other day, he's like, Show me a robot that's gonna do our grocery shopping, write out a bunch of recipes, cook us dinner so we can play games with our kids and we don't have to yell at them while they're driving us crazy while we're cooking dinner. We can actually be part of the kid fun and chaos. There is no fuzzy robot that's doing that. Oh, hi. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, Scott, you nailed it. Like where's the warm and fuzzy? And they've missed it because they're so far gone from their own humanity. Probably because they're all freaking clones and reptilians and grays. And by the way, grays are the future us.
Yeah,
They are future humans that have completely lost synchronicity and coherence within their heart, their soul, their natural biorhythms. And they're here because they're trying to stop the timeline from manifesting where everybody chooses all those gadgets and all that stuff that doesn't make us happy. It
right,
doesn't give us love. And
right.
I think that's
Oh,
where you're talking about Steve Jobs coming out with with the iPad and the music, that fueled our soul. That you can bring music with you out onto a hike. I was telling my daughter when I used to mountain bike in Boulder, I had a kit, one of those mountain bike kits, and it had a pocket in the back, and I would bring my Discman, that big clunky Discman, and my big headphones. I think
And
they
it
were
would
weird.
skip.
And it would skip because I'd be mountain biking, pedaling, and that thing was bouncing around in my kid, and I'd.
Right. And then he comes on a stage and says, this won't skip, and you can put 10,000 songs. So you don't need all these CDs. So
That
we
was warm and
haven't,
fuzzy.
that's warm and fuzzy. We haven't met that moment yet. We haven't met that moment with this insanely beautiful, incredible technology that's coming with the consumers feeling it like that. Like, whoa, wait, I can have non-skippable 10,000 songs on my hike and it lasts for hours. What a magic trick that you just did. And then when he unleashed the iPhone, he did the same thing. What a magic trick. All these apps, all this beautiful stuff. Back then, of course, the iPhone used apps through Safari, but just a magic trick and so intuitive and beautifully designed with user experience in mind as like the forefront that everyone felt good using it and a 4-year old understood it. You know, you have kids, Hilda, of course. You open up an iPad in front of them, they instantly understand it and are amazed by it. A 4-year old doesn't fully understand AI except for maybe the talking to it, you know, but so we're just far away from a product that actually is something that the masses can get around and would defend. Because if you found out that that iPad, or sorry, when the iPod came out, that had some bad impact on the planet, you might be a little more flexible with your like, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying you might be like, yeah, but it's so cool and this is the future and I'm sure we'll figure out better ways and and then you'd be more on board. But right now, Sabrog, you don't have that magic
Mm-hmm.
and they're destroying the planet and they're
Mm-hmm.
evil and the thing itself that's supposed to be like, oh, it's going to replace psychologists and doctors and stuff. That thing openly admits it doesn't care if you're dead or alive because it doesn't have feelings. So like how do you get the inspiration?
Mm-hmm.
how do you how do you sell the people that this is something good for them? Right now, across the board, people don't feel like it's good for them. So that's a
Yeah.
problem because
Yeah,
that the
I've been feeling I have this gut sense, and Hilda, maybe it's something that you're talking about, the sort of like this July to October thing. I have a narrow window feeling within myself. It's like there was something that came up to me and it was like, okay, I gotta get this and do this now. Like now is it's like the opening thing. And so yeah, you could be right. There could be this moment where like maybe it's gonna crash later. Maybe I gotta go and I gotta dig in and I gotta do this 10, 15 hours a day and get this thing done to show. I don't know if it's to show what AI can do, but to get this narrow window of opportunity out there so it's done and out into the world. You Yeah, I mean, you could be right. It could be heading for disaster, and I could be. This is all great, but maybe it's I'm just taking advantage of this one little aspect of it that's great to create a portal through which all this other stuff can come, or something like that. I don't know.
I
yeah,
think
I'm not
something
guaranteeing it's a
very,
disaster. Oh, sorry.
no, but I think what I really think one of the things that is part of the nefarious agenda with regards to these data centers and AI is people are going to wake up to the fact that this is a massive surveillance operation. And it's all honky dory when, I'm like, shit, I got olives and artichokes and some farro. Hey, chat, can you help me make a really banging recipe tonight? But if I'm like, if all of a sudden I wake up to the fact that it is harvesting my brain power, sucking my loosh, taking every essence of my capacity, my mental capacity, my energetic frequency, and containing and storing it, because I really think they haven't gotten there yet to using it to that manipulative extent. We're getting close. And I think something is going to turn on in the system that is going to be so repulsive to our human, to our on a soul level. And it's going to disrupt this drive, even though people can't name that it's a drive for embodiment. It's like that passion and lust for love, for falling in love. You know, if that disrupts the cadence within us, that is that divine ordinance, that divine right to be a soulful human. And if it starts robbing us of that, the entire planet's going to turn on it. And I think we are going to get there sooner than all the magnificence can actually unfold. Before it even becomes a toxic wasteland or we've given up everything for AI. I think something is going to get turned in within that operating system that is going to repel humanity.
Yeah.
And I think it's
And and
coming.
and and back to our key to embodiment. The idea was do what's natural and not forced. I don't think when computers were beginning in the world, I don't think and I was there in the 80s, but I wasn't there before then. But I don't think they felt as forced as AI feels. AI feels really desperate and forced right now
Yeah.
because our country is $40 trillion in debt, and we're really, it's like it almost feels like the gambler who he's putting it all on the line on this last big bet. And they're like, no, 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 this has to fucking work. We need this to be the future. I don't doubt that AI is a big part of our future. I also don't doubt that there will come along a very brilliant Steve Jobs type person who kind of pulls it all together and makes a product that we want to buy. I do doubt right now that this is the time. I think this is a really bad time for it to
Mhm.
be showing up on the stage as far as its success. I think it's a good time for the success of humanity because I think it's pushing us all to band together and say, wait, how is this helping me right now? Is this giving me 10,000 songs in my pocket? Is it giving me that feeling? Most people are saying no to that.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's threatening my future livelihood. It's ruining my neighborhood, and it's all being forced on me. I didn't ask. In fact, if you do follow the news, Sabrag, if you want to and look it up, there are many towns in America right now who are fighting the installment of these data centers and are losing that battle. And then they're getting out there and they're not rioting, but they're protesting and they're
Yeah.
losing
Yeah.
because all the money behind it is forcing their towns to have these loud, humming, disgusting buildings being built that ruin their water systems and all it takes is bribing their three city council representatives in these small towns. You just bribe them, and then you get a data center and you get to build it there. And all
Yeah.
these people who probably grew up in that town, all that stuff,
Yeah.
they're all angry. Everyone's angry at
Yeah.
this technology. That's not how you felt back in the 80s when you played your first video game and when little computer this showed up and computer that, and then of course, like I just kept saying, the iPod showed up and then the iPhone. You didn't
Mm.
feel angry. You felt the
Yeah.
opposite. You felt inspired and excited. Right now, whatever the AI industry wants to say, they're doing the opposite of what Steve Jobs did. They're making
Mm.
people feel afraid and angry. And it's
Yeah.
in their control. They can actually turn that around by having brilliant people come in and sell us on why this is actually good. Where has been that person that's come out on stage and say why this is good for you, that person in that town in Utah that just had this data center built in your town? Why is that good for you? Tell
Mm.
them, explain it, and then you might actually do it. And give us great stories. Give us happy stories about, how it. But even with a good PR campaign, that still won't do it. You got to know it like that. Just like
Yeah.
Hilda knew it like that with, wait, I don't need to carry a bunch of CDs with me and have it skip while I'm on my
Right.
hike. That you got to know it super quick. And you totally are correct, Sabrag. It could be in this very beta testing time where everybody's just wild westing it for sure. And it's more exposed because we're in the world of internet and X and everything, and people are just sharing their stories and what's going on. But it's far from there. And I think it's a good thing, though. I think it's a good thing because it's waking people up to what's important and what they actually want, which is to be
Yeah.
these things are supposed to be built for us to have easier, happier lives. That's the
Yeah.
whole point of technology. You don't need to go and bend your back and break your back and pick a bunch of crops. We built these machines that pull the crops for you.
Well, I know.
People,
I mean, like I said, I know I'm an exception, but I know personally there's this music and harmony and ideas that have been brewing in me for a decade now, and I'm only now finally able to get to the point where I can start to bring them out because of my utilization of this technology. So whatever that means, I don't know, but this has been a very internal and very real and alive and amazing, inspiring experience that's empowered me to push through all kinds of barriers and blockages and problems, knowing that someday there's going to be a feeling where I can freely express it. And now, in the last couple of weeks, I'm finally like, I can literally create harmonic portals using this stuff. So I
That's
might be an
cool.
exception, but I like what you're saying. Maybe that's the kind of thing that's needed. Like,
Yes, we need more
you know,
stories like if I
yeah,
was hired by OpenAI to make a piece to sell the public, I would find people like you. I
yeah,
would interview you guys. I would show what it's doing for your life, and I would cut that together into almost like these little vignettes of how positively it's impacting all these real people with real stories. And that would
yeah,
be like the beginning of what we're talking about, of like showing that this monster can actually have a bright side. And it does, and I
yeah,
know it does. And I know,
yeah,
people talk to it to get out of depression because they couldn't get in touch with their therapist. There's a lot. I am not anti it. I definitely am
yeah.
not. I
No,
just think that
yeah, it's a
they're
good.
they're
It's good to
doing, yeah.
good to have the con like, to have a broad sense of the context in which it's functioning right now. Yeah,
Yeah, because they're not doing a good job selling it, and they're probably doing a great job selling it to governments and corporations to offer more control mechanisms, but they're not doing a good job selling it to the people.
They're not
yeah,
doing a good job building it. That's the biggest problem too. And if only they would release these freaking thousands of patents, how about starting with free energy, right? We're not going to be in the position of wasteland due to these freaking data centers. I mean, I'll tell you here in Maryland, BG&E is the power company. When we built this house in 2021, our electric bill was $500 a month. Our electric bill now, I have to put it on a program to take the average of the highest and the lowest, is $1,200 a month.
wow,
In the house that I grew up in, which is only 3,500 square feet, decent sized house, 4 bedrooms, small bedrooms. I mean, it's a great home, but I mean, every single window leaks. Our highest electric bill over the winter was $2,000 in a 3,500 square foot house. Like, the reason it's so expensive is because BG&E is charging Marylanders up front for the building of the data centers.
Yeah,
They're
I
not going to
mean, there's
be,
stories like this all over our
right?
country where
Yeah.
people are not having the rights to their water, they're
Yep.
not having the rights to their energy, and they're having to pay for all this. And then I don't know if you saw this, but also BlackRock came out and said, we're going to start diverting funds of everyone's 401ks. That's people's retirement
That's right.
funds.
Yep.
That those people, even though their names are on those retirement funds, they have no control over where that money gets invested. That's part of the deal of having a 401k. That guy came out and said he wants to start directing all those funds into the building of data centers. So again, this is like really bad PR for them. They are looking like a bunch of monsters who are trying to take every piece of your energy, your time, and your money and invest it into this thing that they're, come on, baby, land on red at the roulette wheel because this is the big $40 trillion bet that this is going to pull us out of debt. And I think that that's really the reality. And I just think that it's going to have a real tough time taking off the way they want it to because it's just not proving out. And the real costs, Sabrog, are not there yet. Like I said,
yeah,
your $100 a month could probably be, I bet, $10,000 a month
yeah,
uh, without all these subsidies and all the what we're talking about, the taxpayers' dollars going towards all this, all their nefarious ways of trying to feed into this big bet that they're doing. Because
yeah,
America's desperate, America's broke, and America's desperate for this to be a big win. And whatever, it's magical, and it will one day be this thing that's just like, holy shit, this thing can do everything that I want it to do, and that's wonderful. But it's like a long ways from getting there, and people need to be sold so much so that they're excited about buying it and paying for it. And right now, they're not there.
And it's not happening in Europe the way it's happening here.
No, people in Europe don't give a fuck about AI,
They
and
don't.
neither do the young people. By the way,
No.
I have one of my nieces. She won't even touch it. She's like, I don't even want to ask it questions. I think it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Great.
Whereas go try to find a 4-year-old who doesn't want to touch an iPad. They want an iPad. They think it's the coolest thing, the colors and that's the difference.
Yep.
This isn't an iPad.
No.
This is like an iPad. You give it to a 4-year-old, they're like, oh, the colors, and I could pop bubbles and I could do all this cool stuff. AI is this like eerie, awkward, weird thing that like no one feels fuzzy and warm about.
It doesn't feel safe to people. And I think it's because it's lacking love.
How about that it lies too? What a weird thing.
Totally,
I mean,
totally.
that's kind of weird. When did you ever get a piece of technology that just openly lied to you and gaslit you?
It's wild. I know. It's
It's
wild.
so
So
weird. I had it.
there's a nefarious frequency to it, and people feel it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we obviously it mirrors us too. It mirrors aspects of us. So,
Yes.
it also telling it's lying to you if you're lying to yourself.
Yeah. Well, I've had
Right.
it lie about dumb things. Like one time I was asking if I could replace my iPhone Air with like one like I was like, oh, does the coverage cover the crash back here or something? And it was like there is no iPhone Air. And I was like, what do you, I'm holding it and I'm asking you questions on it. And it's like, no, no, no. And I go to Apple's website right now and look. And it goes, you're confused. Blah, 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 blah. It was just gaslighting me about it. And then eventually whoever in the back end fixed it. And then it started telling the truth again. But I mean, like, what a weird glitch. This is not like, oh, it didn't play the song I wanted it to play. This is like, it's like fucking with my psychology, trying to make me seem crazy that I have an iPhone Air. It's very strange. Like, you have to be quite discerning and
You do.
quite embodied in order to use AI in a healthy way.
I was just going to say that because I have caught it a couple times. Like I use it in my medical practice, and I use it a lot when I'm looking at like drug interactions, or if a patient comes in and they've got X, Y, and Z lab work, and they're on these medications. I need to be able to plug something in. I mean, the physician's desk reference book is like this freaking thick. It takes me 10 minutes just to leaf through it to find all the meds that people are on. I mean, I've got patients that come in that are taking 13 medications. And then they want to try and get off this and that and replace it with herbs and supplements. That's going to take me 2 hours to go
Yeah.
through to find interactions. And I've been using it. It's great, but like I have to know my herbs.
Yes.
I have to
Yes.
know a good deal about pharmacology. I have to know about what symptoms and side effects. And that's all from my 25 years of education, experience, knowledge, and expertise. And
Yeah.
so my AI is only going to be as good as I am at giving it the
Yes.
information, which to your argument, Sabrag, why I think your AI is so magnificent is because you're so fucking magnificent.
Yeah,
Because your
that's
mind
what,
is so brilliant. And so you're feeding it, as you said, so specifically that it can become a manifester for you. But the
yeah.
problem is, most humans don't have these skills
Well,
and
that's where I come back to Kundalini yoga, and I think why Yogi Bhajan's foresight was like, I'm teaching again. It's the thing. He even said, I'm teaching this now. It's not going to be useful, or even you're gonna get it until like 3 or 4 generations from now. I mean, that's what he was saying. I'm not teaching this for you guys. Sorry. And I think I would literally not survive. I don't know how you guys do. I mean, I know Scott, you do. I mean, everybody has their own practice that works for them. I would literally not survive right now if I didn't have it. I could
Yeah.
not. I could not do all the stuff with AI and technology and be on social media and all the stuff that I'm doing creatively. I literally would probably die. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I would probably die.
Yeah. Well, so, Brog, I'm really interested to see how your final product comes out because I, for fun, a while back, made a really fun game that I want you guys to give me a whole dollar for that I made. It's called, it's on the App Store. It's called Bubble Sheep, and I made it for iPhone, and all you do is you just pop the bubbles. That's it. I made this a long time ago with AI. I used it was Claude, and it's cute and it's like a kid's game. I figured it's a kid's game. It's
Yeah.
pretty simple interface. However, my experience using it, but it was a while ago when I built this, so I'm sure Claude has gotten better since then. It was what I experienced with video generation too, where I would have it fix one bug that I figured out, and then it would screw up another thing. And then I'd have to fix that bug, and
Yeah.
then it would screw up another thing. And then I'd have it fix that bug, and there would just be this endless like domino effect of every little thing that I wanted to fix. And then I would have new ideas about different characters. Like I have a king bubble that you have to hit 3 times, or I have like a rainbow that comes out and the rainbow pops the bubbles automatically. And I just would come up with these ideas. And like you said, it's magic. It's fun. I had the best time. And I did it, by the way, while I was doing like Kundalini sets and stuff and laying there doing core work. It was
Yeah.
really easy. I would just tell it what to do and it would just do it all
Yeah.
from my phone. It was a great experience. And I had a great time doing it. And the final product is fun. And if you guys want to buy Bubble Shoot for $1, thank you. Um, it it
Bubble sheep.
it took it took a lot of me to make it work.
Yeah.
It took a lot of me, and the AI was exceedingly frustrating. Like a employee that's like really good at specific things, but then like totally missing the mark on the other thing. So you'd focus its attention over here, and it would do that, and it would fix that. But then, like remember that I don't know if you guys see this on TikTok, but they have the funniest things that are so relatable. They say this is what it's like moving an image in Microsoft Word. And they show a guy and he puts like a glass and he takes it off his table and he moves it from here to there. And then suddenly his couch flips upside down.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you've had that experience with Microsoft Word, but like, have you ever like try to move something, then all of a sudden
Yeah.
all your paragraphs get fucked up?
Oh, yeah.
And that's so on TikTok, there's tons of these videos where like somebody is in real life, like taking like a glass cup and just moving it there. And then they like do a trick in the video where they show like their couch just went sideways. And like, so it's like, wait, my whole couch is sideways just because I moved the cup over here. And that's what it's like working with Microsoft Word. That to me is also what it's like right now working with Claude.
It's
Well,
been the opposite of that for me. Like Infinitone was built over years, starting with very novice developers who didn't even know really what I was doing, and we sort of all been learning. So the code is kind of wacky because it was new and we didn't know what we were doing on it. It's figured everything out. It kills the bugs if I put literally everything that I do. It tells it to do, and there might be a bug. I send it the crash report. Okay, if I fix it. It literally again. I have to have, and it's. I don't know how I do this if I wasn't absolutely obsessed with my topic and I hadn't gone through a decade of software development experience.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like I couldn't just be a non-developer and do what I'm doing. I have to know how to iterate, how to problem solve, how to debug, how to test things, how to say, well, what about this? I really have to guide it on a very specific way. But having my level of expertise embodied, I'm opening a heart. But it's also exhausting too. It's like it's doing the work. I'm not doing the work, but at the end of the day, I'm done because it's still work. But
I know my
it's
favorite part though was that you can just be on your phone when it's doing the work, and then when it finishes the task, you
yeah,
quickly test it, and then you can go back to writing, and you can
yeah,
kind of do it in between like weight sets or what, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's a really cool way of working
I've
versus
been
having
I've been doing that. I've been able to hang out with Alethea. Like I posted a video recently that was like I'm just driving through the desert, hanging out with Alethea. I'm making a video for Infinitone, and Claude's working in the background and fixes a bug. It's just like you can completely integrate it into. So
into
my
your life.
well,
Yeah.
my vision always has been stepping into octopus energy. So now I have like 8 arms. It's like, I'm doing this over here and this over here. Anyway, I'm gonna take this opportunity while it's good and it's still running and there's been no disaster, and to open a harmonic portal for planet Earth. That's my goal. That finally, and this album that we've been talking about, all of the sounds and stuff that I've been imagining. I'm like, I can without having to hack it out. I can actually create them in an efficient, like intuitive, creative way. All these sort of resonance patterns. I was just literally programming a thing now where I can record my voice. I can say wah hey guru, and it can analyze the harmonics of that, put it into instruments, so I can take away the actual word of it, but still have that resonance pattern, and then I can orchestrate it and create all these sort of like fractalized resonating patterns that will go all over the place, based on these ancient harmonic resonances. you know, like I wouldn't be able to do, I wouldn't be able to create these sounds that I've been imagining for so long, that I've been wanting to put on this album, without doing what I'm doing now, without ext- like painstaking labor that would take me months and months and months and months. So
No,
I'm gonna run with it and just use it for the time that it is, and maybe this will be the thing. I don't know. Maybe the harmonic portal will open through this thing, and all this other stuff will make sense. I don't know. I'm just gonna go. I have to do it.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I love you guys. I think I'm gonna head out.
I gotta go too. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was awesome as always.
so good to be with you. Take good care. Love you
Can't
guys.
wait for the harmonic portal. I'm gonna jump through.
I'm doing
Oh,
it. We're
me
doing
too.
it.
I'm all. Oh, Swan dive, baby.
I'm doing. There's nothing that's just like me being with Alethea relationally, and then harmonic portal opening. That's my life. Like I have no other.
And
I can't
bread.
imagine.
And bread.
And bread. Well, I mean that's all part of it. But yes, bread.
Yeah.
You got to feed myself.
And bubble sheep
And
And
bubble
bubble sheep.
tea. And
Okay.
carrot.
and carrots.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.